In Amazing Spider-Man number 5, writer Joe Kelly and artist Pepe Larraz deliver an emotional climax to the opening arc, where Spider-Man not only thwarts the Hobgoblin's dangerous drug scheme but also reconnects with a long-lost friend in a surprisingly heartfelt team-up. This installment blends high-stakes superhero action with grounded, personal storytelling, proving that Spider-Man's greatest strength isn't just his powers, but the people who still believe in him. The return of Brian Naring, a blast from Peter's past. Much of this arc has revolved around Peter Parker's increasingly erratic behavior, with everyone from Aunt May to his new employer questioning his stability. The cause? A potent hallucinogen slipped into soft drinks by the Hobgoblin, part of a nefarious plan to seed anxiety in the population and profit off the cure later. Enter Brian Naring, a name not many Spider fans would recognize. Brian is an old middle school friend of Peter's, a bad influence that Uncle Ben and Aunt May once banned Peter from seeing. But through a series of hallucinations, Peter revisits a moment when he and Brian stood up to bullies together, a small act of loyalty that left a deep impression. Now an analyst working with scientist Myra Osmani-Milton, Brian uncovers the truth behind Peter's condition and risks everything by alerting the authorities. That makes him a target. The Hobgoblin is back, and meaner than ever. While the Hobgoblin, Roderick Kingsley, has recently taken a backseat in the villain hierarchy, this issue restores him to serious threat status. Lara's artwork, combined with Marte Gracia's moody colors, renders Hobgoblin terrifying again. He's not just tossing pumpkin bombs anymore, he's targeting civilians and making it personal. The villain confronts Brian and Myra, blaming them for getting involved. His logic? If Spider-Man hadn't dragged them into his mess, they'd be safe. It's a cruel twist on superhero guilt, and it hits Spidey hard. But just when things seem bleakest, Brian returns the favor Peter once gave him as a kid. Using a modified version of Hobgoblin's hallucinogenic compound, he exposes the villain to a dose of his own medicine. Disoriented and vulnerable, Hobgoblin is taken down by Spider-Man in a tense, kinetic showdown. Clever plot, unexpected emotions. Kelly's take on the Hobgoblin's plan, create the illness, then sell the cure, is a smart update on a classic villain trope. But unlike past portrayals where villains gloat and monologue, Kingsley remains eerily silent, refusing to confirm Spider-Man's theory. It's a small but clever subversion that underscores Hobgoblin's cunning. In between the action, the issue drops some intriguing personal moments. Myra writes a farewell message to her stepchildren during the crisis, a touch that adds depth to her character and potentially hints at future connections, maybe even to characters like Hyperion, though that remains speculation. Aunt May and Peter rebuild trust. Perhaps the most moving moment in the issue is its quiet finale, Peter returning home to Aunt May. While she's relieved to learn that drugs, not irresponsibility, caused his recent behavior, her concern runs deeper. She's seen Peter spiral before. But as they embrace, Peter assures her she's always been a good mom, an emotional beat drawn with such tenderness by Larraz and Gracia that it becomes a standout moment. A promising start for a new Spider era. Amazing Spider-Man number 5 closes out its first arc on a strong note. By pairing a classic villain with a very human story of loyalty and redemption, it reminds readers why Peter Parker remains one of Marvel's most compelling heroes. He's not just a web-slinger, he's a friend, a son, and a survivor. With Hobgoblin's scheme dismantled and Norman Osborn now vowing to erase the villain's influence, perhaps as a penance for his own goblin past, the future is wide open and potentially volatile. If Kelly and Larraz can maintain this balance of heartfelt character work and thrilling plot, then the next arc could soar even higher.